It's my great pleasure hosting Silenoz here, the guitar player, co-founder of Dimmu Borgir, the black metal band, which released a brand new album, Grand Serpent Rising, last month, and has been around for over 30 years, and shows no signs of stopping or resting on their laurels. Thank you for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
First of all, please tell us about the reasons for Dimmu Borgir 8-year hiatus between the records, and how do you think the music world has changed over the time? Because you have to admit that the music industry is affected by constant changes.
Yeah, we have been, as you said, for over 3 decades now, and the industry has changed quite a lot. It changes only in like 2-3 years' time. So, and that's probably why we take 8 years in between so we can figure out what's going on. That was a joke. But I think when we make a new album, it's going to be what it's going to be, and it's going to take the time it takes. Obviously, we would love to have an album out sooner than 8 years or that type of cycle, but yeah, it just have to take the time it takes, you know. And I think it's better for us, obviously, and it's better for the fans that they get something that we can stand behind 110% instead of something that's rushed in like a couple of years, you know.
Yeah, but with all due respect, it's the gap like Metallica.
Or Guns N' Roses.
Okay, 2 Olympics between, you know. But is black metal a genre like any other adapted to the new rules of the game based on algorithmics and constant presence on social media? How do you think?
It's funny you ask that because, you know, with the attention span of people these days, for us, you know, releasing a single which have like 1.5-minute intro in the song is probably risky if you look at it from a perspective of the label, you know. But we told the label the songs are made this way and they stay this way, no edits, and we do our own thing like we've always done.
Mm-hmm. So, as you said, you don't try to adapt to the new things, to the new demands of the market.
No.
Okay, and is it a hard way to being, you know, uncompromising in such a old way?
It could be difficult and challenging at times, but the fruit of your labor will speak for itself, and that is something that we set higher than any other thing. You know, we have to do it our way, and the reason why we're still here after so many years is because we have been uncompromising, and we're not going to change.
Mm-hmm. And are such long breaks between the records because previously there's been also 8 years gap between Abracadabra and the next record, are recently part of some larger strategy of yours, or is the result of various life turbulences?
I think there's a lot of different things we can use as excuses for it, but I think the main reason for things taking longer is obviously we're older, we have families. They say that life comes in between sometimes when you get older, and yeah, and we just like to take our time, you know. Sometimes we could probably make a song that we can stand behind 110% in 1 week. Sometimes it takes a month, maybe a year even, you know, it all depends. But I'm really happy how everything turned out with the new album because we took our time, and I think people, once they get the album under the skin, they will realize that it's so detailed and it's we thought about every little thing. So I think they will appreciate it that way, and you know, hopefully we will be forgiven for 8 years.
Okay, we were saying about that you're not doing any compromises in your artistic approach. You didn't want to skip the intro to the snippet of your new track, and your new record lasts almost 70 minutes long. And for some people, there is also a problem to not.
There's a problem for every person out there, I guess. But I actually didn't realize that the album was that long, because when you're in the middle of the writing process, you just write and you collect the songs, you record the songs, and you don't really think about track order or anything like that, So when you're done in the studio and you go through the mastering process, then it's like, oh shit, it's actually really long, But if it doesn't feel that long, then that's a good thing, And for us, it's coming back after 8 years, I guess you can say. It's cool to have a lot of meat on the bones.
Do you think there's a chance that people would back to the records like they are the great stories, not just singles, snippets, and stuff like that? That's the whole narrative around it.
I mean, we are definitely an album band, So to pick a first single, a second single, and a third single is kind of weird because we look upon everything as a whole experience, from start to finish, like a journey. And that's how we want to present our music to the listener. But things have changed a lot in the last few years, and that's fine. But we don't have to follow those so-called rules, and we don't either. So that's how it is.
We're speaking about changes, and do you see an influx of new generation of fans who only know the 90s from the stories and are trying to build their own emotional connection with your band?
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand things from a fan's point of view because I'm a fan of music myself, obviously, and I have my favorite artists and their favorite albums and favorite songs, and after so many years, it's getting more and more challenging to try and find a set list that you think is suitable when you play live, But you do the best out of it, and you pull some old stuff from the older albums, and but 60% of the set list, I would say, says itself. It's like self-explanatory.
When I speak with many guys from the extreme metal bands that are around for 30 or even longer, 30 years or even longer, they very often say that something's in the air right now, that there's a constant changing of audience, of the generation who come at the shows, that something is really changing for better even. The guys from, for example, from very underground bands like Incantation or Dying Fetus or something like that, they see that there's something that never had happened to us before. And what about you? What are your...
True, because those bands you mentioned, they have been there since the beginning.
Yeah.
And we have been there for a long time as well. And it's cool to see the generational
shift. Yeah.
Shift, yeah, for sure. And I'm sure if you ask the Maiden and the Priest guys, they would say the same, that you have all different ages coming to the shows. And I think it looks like it's better than ever, really.
Yeah, but it's easier to imagine, a 10-year-old fan of Iron Maiden and Metallica, because this music is such accessible. But the extreme metal sometimes...
And if we have an 8-year-old at our show, he wasn't even born with the last album, so...
Okay, you got me. Okay, this year marks 30 years anniversary of Stormblast, your second album. And when you think back to the time, what kind of band, what kind of people were you back then?
We were already kind of extreme, I would say. We're still extreme in the way we go about things, but back then we didn't have the experience, of course. But we had this conviction about, like, we totally believed in what we were doing, and we felt like we had something special, even after the first album. And then Stormblast is the second album, which usually is, they say it's the difficult second album, right? But we just went about it like we did with the first album. We wrote songs together in the rehearsal place, and what came out, And I believe some of those songs still stands the test of time today, I'm really happy with the album, and I can't believe it's been 30 years actually.
And what was your mindset back then?
We were probably thinking, like most people in the underground scene at the time, that we were invincible, immortal for that matter, and we just at such a young age, you don't have any life experience, you don't know how to go about it, and maybe we're all on the autistic spectrum, but we totally focused on the band and the music and the songs, and strayed away from the criminal aspect of what was going on at the time.
Okay, and with the big success on your next record, and From Darkness Triumphant, you faced enormous hate from radical black metal circles. And this hate, I guess, in varying degrees, still affects you to this day, more or less. And how did you learn to cope with that?
I think we pretty much early on had to grow really thick skin. You have to be somewhat of a public person or an artist. You have to grow thick skin because you have to believe in what you're doing, and also tell yourself that this is not for everybody. So if someone hates it or wants to even send you a bomb threat, you have to be prepared for that, because it's very polarizing music. Metal in general and hard rock and roll is very polarizing the way I see it. And if you add extreme black metal and that scene to it on top of that, it's there's going to be a lot of turmoil and different viewpoints on things, and that's good. I learned to live with people hating our music and hating us without even knowing us, and that's fine, because especially these days that helps also the algorithm, So it's
polarizing thing. And have you received real bomb threats?
Yeah, a couple of times.
Mm-hmm. And some other radical events that...
I think the first couple of times we were in the United States, there was some people outside the show, that obviously didn't want us to play. But safe to say, I haven't really been scared ever. So, yeah.
So I guess that there were some protesters with the slogans like "Jesus saves" and so on.
Something like that, yeah.
The same with Behemoth in
States. It's great for press,
Okay, and we spoke about "And From Darkness" a little bit. And do you consider this album as your artistic breakthrough, either, or did it come later? And if so, on which album particularly you consider as your artistic breakthrough? Because commercial, so to speak, was Enthroned, with no doubt.
That I would agree with. But if you really take time to listen to the song structures and the songs in general, and you listen to the Stormblast album, the songs in themselves are not that different. It's the production and the studio values that we used for Enthroned that really heighten the songs in themselves. So, and also a good example of that is if you listen back to the re-recording of Stormblast, which we did with Peter in Abyss Studios, you will easily recognize that the gap between Stormblast and From Darkness Triumphant is not really that big as it sounds like. But maybe I'm biased, because I've been on the albums, but that's how I look at it. But I would agree that Enthroned was probably the more commercial breakthrough for sure. That's also when we started touring properly, and that also had a domino effect, of course. So I think that's when you really started to showcase your band, was after that album came out.
Okay, I'm running the music magazine called Noise, and on the 50th issue anniversary, we decided to release this cover, with very old school Dimmu Borgir photo.
Yeah.
What do you think about it these days?
Well, I'm really proud of all the eras of the band, all the albums. But back then, we had some lineup changes, and within those 2-3 weeks of those lineup changes, we took press pictures.
Yeah.
So the first bald guy on Dimmu pictures, he never played on any albums or live. He was there for the
Just for the dispo photo.
just for that photo session. Yeah.
Okay. This is the guy in the hood.
In the hood
Here.
there. Yes.
Yeah. But there's other photo with bald head. It was a promo picture of the record with Shagraf with the gun.
Nagash had the gun. Yeah.
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 Mhm.
Yeah.
Funny story though, and these plastic skulls.
I believe it was plastic or vinyl or something like that. Not real skulls. We keep them at home.
Okay, and funny story aside, what was the most difficult moment in the Dimmu Borgir's history so far?
Difficult moment. It's obviously I think every band out there wants to try and avoid changing lineup, you know. But sometimes it has to be done to basically save the rest of the band. And I can say that since the beginning, both Shagrat and myself, we have had this real ownership to the band and the brand. And we've been there since the beginning. And we don't always agree, but we agree more than we disagree. And I think us running the band with that ownership feeling has maybe sometimes been way more than for other people involved. And that's understandable because everybody cannot feel the same, right? So, and I think that's one of the challenging parts, difficult parts, you know. But we're still here, and we have a great team with us, and there's a reason why we're here still.
And have you ever been on the verge of, splitting up or collapsing?
Not really. We've been on the verge of probably hitting each other and fights and stuff, but that's normal. I think after so many years too, there's bound to be some disagreements. And but I think what dials us back into the middle is that we love what we do and we're meant to do this, and we have this conviction that we basically have this immortal feeling still, invincible feeling that we had back in the beginning.
Okay, but immortal there's only one immortal, you know it.
That's true.
Okay, and I hope you wouldn't find this question offensive in any way, but till Insorte Diaboli record, you were on the constant rise. Every album was a bigger success and so on. And after Insorte Diaboli, something got stuck or changed in the different direction. And what do you think about?
Well, we had a major clash and a major lineup change after Insorte. And obviously, you feel like you have to kind of start on scratch, you know, but the alternative, the only alternative is to give up, which is not an alternative for us. So we have to just find a way to go about it, and we do it as best as we can, you know. And sometimes you don't hit 10, sometimes you hit 7 or 6, and that's normal. But that only makes you more hungry and to get back up on top in a way. And obviously this is going to sound cocky probably, but we do this for ourselves first. And if we like what we do, there's got to be someone out there that's also going to like it. Some going to hate it, but a lot of people are going to like it as well. And if we do it the right thing for us, then it's going to be a right thing for a lot of other people.
But I guess that almost every long-standing band have their ups and downs and bumpy. It's a bumpy road, you know. Let's not forget about, for example, Saint Anger era for Metallica. They were really on the verge of collapsing. So do you think that that was the biggest obstacle on your road?
One of them, yeah. And but like I said, giving up or giving in has never really been there for us, because we don't have a plan B. We never had a plan B, and I think that's been one of the keys to why we're still here, to not have something to fall back on if something doesn't work out, because we work towards a point where it has to work out, and sometimes you don't fail, but you don't hit 10, as I said. So, but that goes along with every artist, every painter, every writer, author, filmmaker, whatever. It's the dynamics.
Okay, and you and Shagrath have been this kind of creative duo for over 3 decades, and it could be compared to Sutter and Frost, or Nocturno and Fenris.
Or Paul and Gene.
Yeah, Paul and Gene. Yeah, when it comes to ownership, yeah. And where's the secret formula of this artistic chemistry between you guys?
I don't think there is any secret apart from that. We just, this is what we're supposed to do, and if we have a hurdle, if we have a disagreement, we attack it as best as we can. Sometimes that means maybe communicating not for a couple of weeks, and but I think that's very normal, and then someone picks up the phone and then we talk like nothing has happened, and then we remember why we're still here, and we kind of pat each other on the back, and we move on.
And have you ever fundamentally disagreed in the past?
Yeah, I think we have some different opinions on certain subject, but I think at the end of the day, we all want best for everybody involved. We want what's best for the band, what's best for the song, what's best for each member, and let's face it, if you're in a band or in a group of people and you have something together, democracy only works up to a certain point. And we call it democracy. So, there are easy decisions to be made, and that's when everybody wants to take credit, right? But if there are difficult and challenging decision that has to be made, then it's Shagrath and me that has to do that. And, sometimes we don't agree, but we usually come to a certain compromise if there's a case where we disagree.
You told us about no plan B strategy when it comes to the band and the whole thing around it. But there is other side of the coin as well, and some people may disagree with that. That you need always have a plan B to do things properly. But I think
that I'm not the right person to ask.
So your approach is kind of different.
Yeah, there has been no parachute. It's like we jump out of the plane not knowing if there's a parachute or not. So.
Mm-hmm. So what was the moment that you're doing this jump with no security line?
That's a good question. It's hard to pinpoint exactly the timeline for that, but obviously over the years when things have been financially difficult, we have had to take up certain jobs on the side just to get around and pay bills, and that reminds me also in the beginning of the band when we were at college together and we were eating noodles and dry bread and jam and stuff like that. And I think that helps to make you remember the good days, and it makes you stay humble, and it makes you stay grateful for what you have achieved and what you want to achieve, because you still want to achieve.
Okay, and eating noodles and jam sounds like a very black metal menu after all. So, okay, so even without being so active during for example, your 8 years break between the records, you're still there's no still plan B. You're living for the music.
Absolutely.
How do you manage
That's also a good question.
without constant touring?
Yeah, especially the later years, that's of course a huge challenge, because after things went very digital, the royalties are not necessarily the same anymore either. And if you don't tour, you don't promote your products. So it's been tough at times, but that also make you understand how to be smart with money, and to pace yourself and don't go to a strip club every night and spend 20,000 zloty or whatever.
I guess you know the guys who did it. You've been working with Dunaj, the drummer of Dimmu Borgir, for years, actually, and he's currently the longest-serving musician with Dimmu Borgir, a part of you guys, you and Shagraf. And what have you learned about Poles from his example?
I have learned that Poles are really hardworking and dedicated and professional people. Speaking from a musical point of view, there's so many great bands and artists from Poland, that we have been inspired by. When Dunaj came into the band, that was really a blessing because we obviously want to have a stable lineup as possible. And knowing his history with Vader, having to take the sticks up after Doc, come on. It's, that the person is the real deal. And ever since he's been in the band, it's been great. I nicknamed him the Polish clock because he's always on time,
Polish clock. Okay, and some other stories, because I don't believe that we have only good sides. Mostly, that's fine. Okay, and speaking of Polish artists, Polish bands, you're about to embark a major tour with Behemoth this fall. Is this a symbolic moment for you as representatives of second wave black metal, and that has become a music played in big arenas now?
That's true, and that's something that we cannot stop or want to stop, because that's the evolution of this genre. And it feels great to finally be able to do another big run with Behemoth. We did one in, was it 2007, 2008? 2007, I think it was, in the States, which was highly successful. And we've been, even before that happened, we have been talking about touring together. And obviously the timing and stuff hasn't always worked up, but now it did. And it also worked for Dark Funeral. So I think this is a great package. It's 3 bands that has paved the way for extreme music in general for so many years, and we're still here. We're old bastards now, but we're still here, and the experience, the bands and the band members between the bands together is great, and I'm really looking forward to it.
And what was the hardest tour that you, the most challenging tour that you ever played? Speaking about Behemoth, Dargal always said about their tour in Canada, that they played like 20 years ago in the middle of the winter, and there was some capacities like 10 or 20 people per show, and it was absolute nightmare to survive this tour.
Yeah, we've been there. I remember specifically, I think it was a summer festival tour we did in 1997. We had no crew. We had one driver, which was also the tour manager and the lighting guy, as far as I remember. And we had to do everything ourselves.
3 roles in one person.
Yeah. And then everything else was left to us, and rented drum kit every place. And you can imagine a festival with no sound check, hardly any line check. You go on there and you have changed strings and you haven't tuned properly, and you try and tune between the songs, and it's a whole nightmare. And we basically, that little festival tour, we got into a van, a brand new van that the label had bought for the company that we got to loan, and everything happened in that van. We had instruments ourselves, and it was just pure chaos for like 3 weeks. So that was like the baptism of fire for us.
Is there a little part of you that missed those times?
Yeah, I mean, but I still live those times in many ways, just in a more professional way.
Okay.
I'm glad that we experienced those times, because that makes you appreciate everything you have so much more in later years.
Okay, and do you have any regrets about the past of your band, that you made some, maybe not the greatest choices for your career in the past?
I'm going to think positively now and not use the word regret. I'm going to say that we have learned from past experiences, hopefully.
There is a Down song the band played yesterday. There's a famous song of them, Learn from Their Mistakes. So this is how you roll with it?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, for now.
Okay, so we're running out of questions. I think if you are okay with that, maybe there are some questions from the audience. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Thomas. I'm from Szczecin. I get a question. You usually don't use, maybe that way. Metal bands usually use a lot of lead guitar to play solos. It's very, very common. But you don't have so many solos. It was your decision that you don't have usual lead guitar, or you just play more symphonic, more orchestral things, or it was just happened, it was flowing?
I think it comes down to several things, obviously capability. Personally, I'm more of a rhythm guitar player, and I don't even look at myself as a guitarist in that sense. I feel like I'm more of a songwriter and an artist, but guitar is my medium, and my capabilities stems from being self-taught. So, and at some point I got too old and maybe also a bit lazy to take up lessons, and too proud to take up lessons. So, but I think, we have had solos in the band several times, but I think we focus more on melody lines, and at the end of the day, that's what's going to carry the song. But it's always cool to have a proper written solo, like especially on the new album, where Damage has done an amazing job on composing those leads. Thank you.
Hey, a quick one. A big stage with a lot of people around, or a small club with like a more massive amount of people being together? What's bringing you the more into like, I want to play that again and again?
It's hard to say if I prefer one over the other, but obviously when you play for a lot of people, you get to interact with a lot of people. But I also like playing smaller places a lot, because you get more close to the audience and you can feel the energy more, instead of having like 10 meters between the stage and the first front row at the festival. But we're at the end of the day, we are a live band, so we have to obviously play where we play, and I enjoy both.
On behalf of the organizers and myself, thank you very, very much for your time. Our guest was Silenoz. Please give him great applause.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thanks for having me.